You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Saturday the 23rd of August 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and I'm literally winging this because I've done no writing today. I haven't felt in the mood, and so I started recording the podcast with absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about. I did ask ChatGPT to suggest a couple of random ideas for me to chat about, and they're all stupid stuff like do a podcast on the hidden history of household items. No, I want something I can record in 6 minutes, not have to spend hours researching. Thanks for that, ChatGPT. So, I suppose I could briefly tell you about my day. Not that I've done much. I haven't felt like writing. I think it's, all to do with stuff from a couple of days ago, and that's really annoying now because I've got 8 days left of the month, 4 of which I'm working to get my last however many thousand words written, and it is only 7,000, and actually I have written 4,000 of them, though they do need signing off. So fingers crossed I will find my mojo in the next sort of few days before I run out of time. Although I was chatting to someone today, and I would rather miss a self-imposed deadline than force myself to write when I'm not in the right place and write something rubbish. So it's not the end of the world. Another person actually put on the comments that maybe the whole thing about the changing the parameters of this project of the writing club, or rather set me was, that's coming out as gibberish. I'll start again. She a friend of mine who commented basically said that perhaps the reason that the kind of book club people suddenly changing the parameters of the commission was because it kind of might remind me of somewhere I used to work at, which that I don't know. That's a good thought. I hadn't thought of that, but there's possibly a truth in that. What else have I done today? I've built some Lego, so I'm rapidly getting to the point where I've got all of the Space Lego sets from the classic Space Lego range, which started in 1978 and finished in 1987. Now, they did continue to do Space Lego after that, but it started to evolve. So they changed the minifigures slightly. They called them Futuron, and then they also gave them some bad guys called Blacktron. And one of the things I've got to decide, because I think I've got about 4 or 5 models to get from classic Space Lego, and they're all little ones. I've got all the big ones now, although what I am finding is one of the little ones is so rare I might have to pay a ludicrous amount of money to get it, but I'm keeping an eye out. I've not there is one available for like 160 quid, and I don't really want to pay that for it. Well, I'm not going to pay that for it. It's in a box, and it's probably, the problem is I don't want it in a box. I don't want to not build it. I want to open the box and build it. So if I bought that one, literally as soon as it arrived and I built it, it would fractionalise the value of it. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so I've got to decide whether then to continue into the Futuron range. I mean, that didn't last as long. So the original classic Space Lego went on for practically 10 years. And then the new range I think it went on for about 4 years. I can't remember exactly when it finished. And then it evolved into like Space Police, and I don't like those. I don't like the colour schemes. The Futuron stuff does strongly resemble the classic Space Lego. You know, they've made a slight redesign of the uniforms, but they're all right. So yeah, that's all been whizzing through my head today as I built one of the last models in the classic Space Lego range. As I said, I've got a handful to get, but they are the tiny ones. I'm trying to think what else it is. I had my hair cut because it's been getting a bit long, and I normally get it done once a month. And then I because I had July off, because I didn't work July, I didn't get it cut. So I had it cut in early June, didn't bother getting it cut in July because I was off, and then started work at the beginning of this month thinking, I haven't had my hair cut. It looks a bit of a mess. And one thing I hadn't realised because I only go to a barber in town, but they quite like you to stick, the barbers kind of take it personally if you switch persons doing it, so they tend to think they've done something wrong. So you don't have to, but they deem it polite, I think, for you to stick with the same barber to do your hair. And the guy that normally does mine, he's nice enough, no problem with it. But he was working the same days I was working. So anyway, I finally got my hair cut today, having last had it cut on the 5th of June. I've had a grade 2 all over, which is what I normally do. But obviously it looked nothing like that. It looked a bit of a mess, actually. So I did that, and I've had a bit of a lazy day. I've kind of started rewatching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because Sky Max, or whatever they call the bloody channel, maybe it's Sky Sci-Fi, are re-showing one a day. And I've watched the first 6 or 7 episodes, and actually I remember the early stuff not being very good, but actually there's been a couple of really good episodes in the early run. And I think because obviously they're setting up the characters and bits and pieces. So I'm going to enjoy it, although we've got the travesty that is the episode Move Along Home coming up. It is one of the worst Star Trek episodes ever made. It is just, and you can actually see the actors there's a bit where the actors are doing a particular thing they have to do in the story, and you can even see on their faces, particularly the lead, Avery Brooks, you can literally see on his face, what am I doing this shit for? Anyway, back to work tomorrow. I've got to roam there and back, so probably won't do any writing tomorrow, but we'll see. I'll get there in the end. Anyway, thank you for listening to me waffle on about nothing in particular. I'll be back at some point tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.